What's going on, YouTube? I just finished my last training session before I go back over to England, and I figured why not go over a little bit of this past weekend, try to go over some things, maybe a little bit of more in-depth stuff as to the events for the Shaw Classic or the Strongest Man on Earth. I ended up taking 4th overall, very, very close to podium, very close to catching Tom Stoltman. Unfortunately, I made some mistakes throughout the competition. I'll go over all of that. So we arrive, and the first event is the log ladder. Now I went into this event with a lot of hesitation because I'm very confident in my logging ability. I'm confident that I can hit 450 pounds anytime that I want without even really prepping for it. In the past, I've had some issues with Shaw's logs specifically. Something about like the power coating on the outside of the log, it makes it very difficult for me to clean. And I kind of went into the event with that at the forefront of my mind. So I started at the 410 log. I cleaned it and I pressed it with no issues. It felt kind of light. It felt very strong. You can even see in the actual, you can actually see in the live stream how I'm looking at the 410 log after I hit the first rep, and then I look at the 440, 410, 440. Looking back at it in hindsight, I should have stayed on the 410 log and just gotten reps with it. But in the heat of the moment, I felt strong. I felt like I was capable of it. I was able to clean the 440, which was kind of impressive for me in and of itself because I wasn't expecting to be able to clean it as easily as I did. And if you watch, I clean it so fast that it actually kind of clipped the bottom of my chin a little bit. It threw me off balance, which is why the press wasn't any good. But yeah, but by the time that I went back to the 410, I already kind of expended all my energy for logs. So I ended up leaving with 1 rep. It is what it is. It's a learning experience. Next time I'll stick to the plan and just hit 410 for reps. Going from there, we had the wheelbarrow loading medley into an arm over arm. This was an event that I was excited for. I usually perform very well at this event. I think if I'm not mistaken, I think I took 4th overall, I think. The wheelbarrow, first of all, heavy as shit. That was a very heavy wheelbarrow. That was the first time that I've ever actually had something slip out of my grip. I have a very good grip, and maybe I just wasn't fully like locked onto it. I don't know what it was, but after I loaded the 3rd bag, and I was rolling the wheelbarrow across the line to go to the arm over arm, it actually slipped out of my hand. So that's what cost me a little bit of time, and overall it pushed me down into 3rd. So that I can only really attribute that to just I need to just train harder. After that, I believe we had the car leg press. Here was another one where I unfortunately made mistakes that cost me 3rd place, and that was, and I want to give full credit to the judges. Before the competition even started, when we were going over rules, they made it abundantly clear that we are not allowed to take our hands off of the handles unless to signal that we are done with the event. So I was in a very good rhythm. I had a lot of very good reps. I made it to 12 reps before I was told afterwards I was called for 1 rep because I wasn't in full control of it descending down into the hole. So I was just coming down too fast. But then after I got my 13th rep, I removed my hands off of the handles to kind of showboat a little bit, try to get the crowd a little bit more involved. I wanted to get them on their feet, give them something to cheer for, and I ended up pushing out a 14th rep, but because my hands left the handles, that rep did not count. So overall reps I did was 14. That was enough to tie Brian Shaw for the lead and the win on the event, but they ended up taking 2 reps away. Again, they were my mistakes, and it's something that I can only look back on and learn from and come back next year stronger, more prepared, and maybe a little less heat in the moment kind of. And then we finished day 1 with stones. 5 stone series ending at 450, I want to say. Definitely a poor performance on my part. I was going up against Trey Mitchell, and the first 3 stones that we loaded, if you rewatch, I actually loaded faster. Trey is a better stone loader for consistency and strength. I would argue that I'm faster. So I loaded the first 3 stones a lot faster, and I would have gotten the 4th stone, but if memory serves any of you guys well from Giants Live Glasgow in 21, I fumbled the 4th stone because I went for the triple extension and started essentially releasing my hands off of the stone before it was fully on the platform. So essentially it was on the edge and then it just rolled off back onto the ground. And that mental block mixed with how kind of tired my ass and hamstrings were towards the end of day 1, I wasn't able to load that again, so I only got points for 3 stones. Very poor performance on my end. Again, it was a mistake that I made, and ultimately it ended up costing me. Went into day 2. If I'm being totally honest, I went into day 2 a little discouraged. I was really upset with just so many mistakes, especially at this level in my career, just constantly making mistakes on day 1. So I went into day 2 a little bit more calculated, I would say, a little bit more focused on not making any more mistakes. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we started day 2. What did we start day 2 with? Deadlift. This wasn't a mistake on my end. This was just more of a, I just wasn't fully prepared for it. I only managed to get 950. I really wanted 1,000. 1,000, that would have been really good points. I thought it was there. But yeah, it was not there. So yeah, just got to work harder on my 13-inch elevated deadlift. And then from there, I believe we did the chest press. If I'm not mistaken, I think we did the chest press. Yeah, we did the chest press next. I managed to tie 3rd with, I believe, Bobby Thompson and Kevin Fairs. Shout out to Thomas Evans and, of course, Brian Shaw for taking the event win. Thomas Evans in 2nd. Big surprise, really great performance. It was awesome getting to compete with him. Again, now that the competition's over, I feel comfortable saying, not necessarily as an excuse, but more of a reason. I was expecting to do a little bit better on the chest press, but about 2 weeks before the Shaw Classic, I felt a slight pop in my left pec, and I went into the chest press event very hesitant because I wasn't sure if it was going to like essentially tear all the way, if I was going to injure myself, because I still have a couple more shows to do this year, and I want to be healthy for all of them. So went into the chest press with a little bit of hesitation, but still managed to pull out a tie for 3rd, so I can't be too mad at that. After the chest press, we did the sandbag throw. Sandbag throw is a very mid event for me, I would say. It's not something that I really excel at, but I don't really fall behind on either. I managed 7 bags. Off the top of my head, I don't remember where I placed in that event, but it was enough to get decent points. And I do remember that going into the final event, which was Fingal Fingers into the power stairs, I was in a very good position, and I did have the capability of taking 3rd. Certain things had to have happened. I had to do very well, and Tom Stoltman had to kind of underperform on that one. That's not what happened. Tom Stoltman came out like an absolute beast, and I believe he got me by 2 or 3 seconds. He took 1st in that event. I took 2nd. Able to battle back from, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I believe that my lowest placing throughout the competition was in like 9th. And to be able to fight back to 4th place and within like grasp of 3rd place, I'll take that as a win. Again, just a lot of real mistakes that shouldn't have happened. I should have been better focused, and it was definitely a learning experience. Let this be a lesson to everybody. The hype is good. If you know how to use it and control it, it can help you do so many amazing things. I'm not going to stop being hyped. I'm not going to stop being aggressive. But again, it's just you're constantly learning how to control that and focus that energy when you need it so that you don't make those dumb mistakes. I can guarantee you that I'm definitely not going to be making those mistakes again next year. Next year, I plan on coming into the Strongest Man on Earth competition. like a bat out of hell. Those trophies are really cool, and I really, really want one. So that's a competition that I'm gonna push really, really hard for next year. Now that I've gotten 4th, I'm confident and I believe in myself wholeheartedly that I'm able to get first place in that competition. I know I can, so that'll be one that I push for really hard. Congratulations to Tom Stoltman for taking 3rd, Mitchell Hooper for taking 2nd, and the storybook fairy tale ending, Brian Shaw, for taking 1st place at the Strongest Man on Earth. What can I really say about that? The entire weekend, it was electric. The crowd was amazing. The venue was beautiful. The implements were crazy and different and awesome. And this is just for me personally, but the entire weekend really had a bittersweet feeling because it's amazing being able to share the stage with someone like Brian, somebody who's been in the sport for damn near 20 years and on the top of the sport for damn near 20 years. Somebody who has a rap sheet and a resume as impressive as his, and just how much he looks to give back to the sport. It's amazing being able to share the stage with someone like that. But it was also kind of bitter because the entire weekend we were aware, like, this is the last time that we're going to compete with Brian. And a lot of us, I would say all of us, we're like, Brian's our friend, and it's really hard to kind of watch him. It's kind of hard to watch him hang up the towel and just not compete anymore. But I know that he's going on to bigger and better things. I know that he is focusing his attention on his family and then making the Shaw Classic / Strongest Man on Earth the biggest show that he possibly can. And every single year that I've competed there, it's just gotten bigger and better. So I'm really, really, really invested and very interested to see where it goes next year and see how they top themselves from this year, because it was so great. So I wanted to give a special shout out to Brian and Carrie. Carrie, you were amazing. You ran the show as smooth as it possibly could be, and we're all very thankful for everything that you do for us. And Brian, I've got nothing but love for you, man. I mean, I've said this before and I'll say it again. You were my earliest role model and inspiration in strongman. When I first discovered the sport and I first started training it and getting into it, I would watch Brian Shaw videos on YouTube to motivate me, to learn from you. I would listen to your interviews to get advice. I've been a fan ever since I started strongman, and you've really helped me, like, you have directly helped me make me a better strongman and a better person. And I'll consider my career an amazing success if I can be half as successful as you. So much love to the Shaws, Brian and Carrie, and I'm gonna bust my ass to get first next year, following your footsteps a little bit. So yeah, that was my recap of the 2023 Strongest Man on Earth / Shaw Classic. Had a great time. The competition was amazing. The competitors were awesome. It was cool to watch Brian go out on top. And yeah, I've got a lot to work on, but that's all we do, is we just go right back to work. So if you liked the video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. And until next time, T-Rex Kingdom, baby.